What's going on, guys? Got an instant reaction here from Connor and Mark show. You can click that subscribe button to keep up with all our content on our YouTube page, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Connor and Mark show to follow us on social media as well. Big Phillies win tonight. They did not win the first two. A tough, obviously, first two in Atlanta, but they found a way to weasel out with a third win down in Atlanta against the Braves 7-6. A controversial call at the end of the top in the ninth with Alec Boehm coming from home. Third on a sac fly from Didi Gregorius and sliding in. He was ruled safe to begin with at the play, but after looking at the instant replays, the question was brought up of whether his toe was in, and actually touched the plate. There was not enough conclusive evidence, according to the umpire and the staff there, so they ended up keeping it safe at the calling. Obviously, fans in Atlanta and the coaching staff for the Braves were not happy. But it doesn't really matter because the Phillies got a win with a big 1-2-3 save from Hector Neris in the ninth. But it was a rough two first games there, but the Phillies found a way to get out of Atlanta with the win, and now they are 7-5, I believe.
6-3. Yep.
Nah, I don't know, man. I'm way off. 6-3, but the 6-3 ended up to Queens to play the Mets. So big win to save the series, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, perfect way to describe it there. And they really did find a way to pull it out in there. But in real time, to me, it did look like he was in there safe. But when they did slow it down, it did look really tight that he even got anything on the plate. I know we were talking before the show, probably got just a piece of a spike on the plate, but nonetheless, the Phils still come out of Atlanta with a win, and a huge win at that. Because I know we were discussing on the show on Saturday that, you sweep Atlanta and you can't really undo what you did the first week by getting swept by them in their home ballpark. And the Phils really battled all game. I mean, the game, where the bats really came alive for them and saved them. It's Matt Moore looked pretty good on the mound. Obviously, first inning got him 3 runs, but
he was efficient. The
Phils didn't let it get him down, and they came out in the second inning, and they got a run, and then Hoskins woke up with a big homer, and you see Harper and DeGore and all these guys getting involved that are big names and big bats for the Phils. And if they're going to be successful against teams like this, they're definitely going to need guys like them to step up.
Yeah, before going into the Phillies offense, because that was obviously a huge key point that we were talking about before this Braves series started about the bats finally waking up. But that Braves offense, Ronald Acuna is one of the best players in baseball, man, and he's unbelievable. He had one of the best games I've seen in a while tonight, and even through the series, man, he was just dominant, along with Freddie Freeman too. He's a Phillies killer, and he's starting to heat up as well. And those two guys in the middle of the lineup is so tough to face against Atlanta. And obviously Albies is starting to get it together as well. And the only guy struggling in their lineup at the top is Marcell Ozuna, who's not obviously having a really good start. But those three guys there, Albies, Acuna, and Freddie Freeman, they're dominant and have always done great against the Phillies. But the Phillies bats are waking up as well. Hoskins, like you said, who's been fantastic this year, got a home run tonight. Didi Gregorius at 4 RBIs with a big 3-run home run, I believe, in the 5th inning. And that really, set the Phillies in stone and really shifted the momentum to the game at that point. And then Bryce obviously got a really good home run tonight, obviously to left field. And that's what, he tries to pull sometimes. And I think that's where he seems to struggle when he's trying to pull and he's trying to, hit the ball out of the yard. If he stays with it, and sometimes he just takes it the other way and it still travels a very long way. So that was a great home run from him. And then Alec Boehm, obviously, with the big double in the top of the ninth to set that play up to set up the controversial call later in the inning that ended up the Phillies winning 7-6. But overall, great game to salvage the series. They are, like you said, 6-3 in the season, going up to New York to play the Mets. So I don't know where the Mets are slotted at right now to start off this year. I know they lost the other day. DeGrom had 14 strikeouts and they lost. But
yeah, they had a crazy game today as well. I believe they had a rain delay after 1 out.
Yeah, Marcus Stroman, yeah.
And he was pretty upset. But real quick on your point, New York is in third right now. 2-3, but I also did want to point out, I know I said the bats really came alive and saved this Phillies team, but I also do want to touch on the bullpen. They came in, it was Brogdon, Conrad, and
Sam
Alvarado came in, and they only let up 1 run in between the 3 of them. And coming in like that and really saving a tough start for Matt Moore, also rejuvenated this team late. And Neris, again, you touched on it, coming in, being locked down. And if this team's going to be successful, again, a lot of factors, but they definitely need closing pitching with Archie Bradley on the DL now.
That was huge. Yeah.
To be very efficient. And Hector Neris did a great job tonight coming in to a tough environment in Atlanta and closing it out 1-2-3.
Well, it's a tough line to face. I know you faced Pablo Sandoval, who's had a really hot start to the season. I think he was like 2 for 5 with 2 home runs to start off the year. Then you got to face Acuna, who's obviously been dominant this series. And then Albies, and then hopefully you don't have to get the Freeman, which he did. He went down 1-2-3, but that's a tough lineup, a tough ask for him to come into and face those batters, and he answered the bell, and that's a huge thing. And I've had my doubts about Hector Neris over the past couple of years. I don't know if he's a definite closer in the MLB. Maybe not Locke, obviously one of the better closers in the MLB, but he's definitely a really good late game pitcher. And when his split fastball is on, it's dominant, and he's one of the best late game pitchers in baseball. When that split fastball is working. So a lot of positives, I think, to take away from this game tonight and the series as a whole. I know the first 2 games were a little disappointing, and obviously losing those 2. But, now you're going up to New York to play the Mets, a 4-game series. I mean, you'd like to see him at least win 2. That's the goal. I think whenever a 4-game series happens, you like to at least split. But I think they faced DeGrom the 4th day. So other than that, the pitching they don't have to face Marcus Stroman, but they face, I think, the back end of the rotations. I think is a good opportunity for Nola, who will start. I believe they play tomorrow, right?
Yeah, so they play tomorrow. Series starts and wraps up on Thursday. It looks like Nola's going to be pitching on Tuesday.
No. Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah,
and then Wheeler's going to be Wednesday. Another good pitcher for the Mets. I didn't know that they acquired him, but it looks like Joey Lucchesi, the pitcher for San Diego last year. So I think the Mets have a pretty solid pitching staff, but haven't played a lot of games, obviously due to the COVID restrictions and rain delays and, a whole bunch of stuff starting off their season on a rocky start for getting games in. But again, Phil's going up here 4 games. You would like to see him take 2. I think this team is definitely capable of taking 3 from this Mets team. If they can keep these bats hot, if Hoskins can really start heating up, I think he really elevates the game of guys like Harper and, Bohm just feeds off of everybody's energy, and he is a tone setter himself. So I think this team's capable of keep winning series and keep moving up in the standings. And it's no better way to do it than this week against a divisional opponent in the Mets.
Yeah, the lineup for the Mets isn't looking too hot so far. Obviously, Nimmo's having a good year so far. He's batting .400. Smith obviously is a really good hitter. He played well against the Phillies last time they played them. But Lindor's off to a slow start. Conforto's off to a slow start. Pete Alonso's been pretty solid, but he had 3 strikeouts the other day. So that middle of the lineup is a little cold. So you're gonna have to be prepared, obviously, to hopefully stop them from catching fire, because that middle of the lineup with Lindor, Conforto, and Alonso, they got a lot of pop. So it's gonna be a good series. I think it's gonna be a good test for the Phillies. I think, like you said, Chase Anderson's gonna be on the mound tomorrow to lead it off, but then you got Nola, who's going to be looking to bounce back. Wheeler's going to be looking to bounce back. And then Eflin, who's going to be looking to bounce back as well. They didn't have horrible games, but they obviously weren't playing to the standards they were the first series they played. So it's going to be exciting to see this matchup. It's a big matchup, and hopefully they can win 2 out of 4 at least. So
most definitely. And just some big things to this series to continue is, obviously, we touched on it earlier in the show. Some of these big names keep contributing. Gregorius is off to a great start. Harper's starting to catch some fire. Keep these bats hot, and obviously the bullpen showed tonight that they can be a very good, closer against a very good team in the Braves. And if they can continue that against a deep lineup like the Mets, I believe that they can, take 3 or 4 in this series.
No, I agree. All right, well, we're going to wrap up here on the Instant Reaction, but make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page by clicking that subscribe button to keep up with all our content here, along with following us on social media at the Connor and Mark Show on Twitter and Instagram. And then make sure you tune in on Saturdays from 10 to 11 on 95.3 WCHE 1520, WCHE for the Connor and Mark Show live. We obviously had Bill Wendell on last Saturday. We'll probably have that show up on Spotify and YouTube as well tomorrow, once I get, all the audio from everybody at the station. So look out for that as well, and we'll see you guys again.